Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. Not a lot of people on live now. What happened? Only 21. Where's everyone? Watching the recording? There used to be 40 something people wake up for it. So I guess either they're busy or they're going to watch the recording. Let's go. So let's go through this silver again. First, let's start with the 4-hour. We're still in a consolidation, right? There's no question about that. Just like there was no question about whether this is a consolidation. I think you can see that pretty much this is not a case for us. The only question is, will it break out today, or are we going to come back one more to this level, make a new low, and then go? That is the only question we have right now. Is it going to make it? And it's possible. It's quite possible that that could happen. Remember when we made this, we knew we were going to get one more down because this was a flat in the middle. I showed you about 6 examples of that. They could or could not break the top, but they're going to come back. We haven't broken the top of the impulse. This is the top of the impulse. So we're still within the correction zone for a downside. So I'm not looking for any more complex pattern. It's just basic pattern. If they come back down here with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is double XY said, we would look at it. Unless we break that up, then we will see whether all of this goes for a P wave. These are sharper, so I will go with those as the impulses. These down are sharp. So if we get this down, it should be sharp and it should come back to retest this low. That's the minimum, unless it becomes more complex on the way, right? So what we would look for here, let's go to the trading now, 1 hour. That's the analysis on the 4-hour. The 1 hour is, yesterday you took it off here for 50% of what you were risking loss, so half of what you would risk. And I said you could put it here again, just in case they go really fast. Right, and I hope I stress that really fast. If it was going slow like this, you should take it out, because we know that if they go slow like this, you would wait for them to make a good flag before you actually get into the trade. And a good flag that I would look for is probably something with an impulse down, this up and this down before I look for that trade. So it's still possible we're looking at a running flat here for upside. That is if this goes. But let's assume just for the sake of, if you put the entry order and you walk away, let's just assume that you got tagged in the trade here. Your stop should be minimum at this level, because that's the bottom of this last piece down, right? So this is where your stop is. This corrects slowly back to there, take off the trade, because there's a chance that if you get this, this is going to go. And again, you can put it here. You can put back the entry there. This is going to go slowly. If it goes slow tag, you take it off. If it goes really fast, that's the trade. Let's assume now the next candle opens and they do this. If it goes fast, you're in the trade. You don't have to worry about that. If you're not in the trade, you should put an entry order above the top, because we don't know that this doesn't take off like a rocket in the next candle, right? So you should put the entry. You should take off this and put it above this top. But if you're in this one, and I'll assume some of you might be there, just leave it. Wait to see what happens here. It goes up back. What you can do now is move this stop. Not right now. I wouldn't put it right now here. But when this goes up some more here, you'll put it there. We also put this. This is not a stop. That was an entry. That if they actually come back to the top here and decide to fall, right? If this becomes a flat and they decide to fall, we want this straight to the bottom here. Now that is no longer valid. This is no longer valid, right? We'll take that out because it's not valid. They will broke the top. What you need to wait for if you're going to go in a trade like that is wait for it to make a flag here. Now, if we get a flag here, an entry order here is a good idea if they're going to do that. And they can do that sometimes. They can go really fast. If you get a flag somewhere at the top here, it could fall really fast. I think we might have seen many cases of that. So let's see if we have not this flag, for example. If you sold this flag, see the drop there, you need to put that to break even and leave it, because we'd expect it to come and break this low. That is if they fall. If they go up, great. For those of you who are not in the buy, we would look for a buy setup. And for those of you who are in, you'll either try to exit or you'll stay with the trade. Depends on how fast it goes. And that's how you manage your trades, because sometimes you do get tagged. And a lot of traders tell me, well, I get tagged and then they go against me. I'm like, okay, where was your stop? How do you manage the trade? This is a very clear case of how you will not even lose what you risk. Because if you're risking 1%, you're not going to lose 1% here. Unless this just drop like that, which is rare, right? It starts to correct here. You're tracking this correction because you're going to move this stop to this level. And that should be an entry for a sell as well. And then you'll try to exit it at this point. So instead of losing 1%, you're going to lose 0.1. Good. If it takes up to the top right now, good, you're in a good trade. See? So that's how you manage trade. And that is why, you know, the stops are not there for it has to come take me out before I take off the stop. The stop is there for if things goes wrong. If when I get into this trade, for some reason take off in the opposite direction really fast that I don't see anything else that I could have done, then stop me out there. That's what it's saying. This is how much I'll take a loss. If there's a structural change and you can see it, and you see it's making a flag to the downside, you don't stick with the trade and said, okay, come take me out. I've seen people wrote that before. Oh, I should live with my stop. I'm like, well, if you're crazy, live with your stop, right? If you're going to live with that, then good. That's okay. That's a rule for you, right? But that's crazy. That's not analyzing charts. That's not doing trading. That's not doing a business, right? It's like you would put a price out on something. You bought something, and I'll put this price. And if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't sell, I'll still keep that price. And you don't do that in business. It's not selling, you dump it. You change the price. You drop price. It's not selling. Let me dump the darn thing out for a cheap price. What do you think most of the stores doing? What do you think Black Friday is about? It's about dumping things that are not selling. What do you think sale is about? Dumping stuff that are not selling. All of us like to go to sale and buy. That's great because we get a much cheaper deal, right? We get we get a good deal for the same stuff you don't even want it sometimes, but a good deal, so you buy it. Most people do that, by the way, right? You buy stuff you don't need because it's super cheap, and maybe you'll have use for it sometime, right? So basically, it's the same thing. You're doing a business. You bought a trade. You bought some currencies. You realized, you know what? Not going the way I expected. It's not taking off like a rocket. It's coming down back. It's making a correction. I just dump it and then I'll see if I have a new entry, I'll take it again. Right? Basically, it's a business. Treat it like a business. So let's go. This is what we will do. We'll watch this up. If this go fast, great, you're in business. If it's not, then go slow. You will see it correcting, right? Then you'll just move your stops and you'll move this stop to there. That's first your half of the risk again, and then you may get off much less than half. You would have to close the trade. So let's go. What if you close the trade? The next question people ask me, that's the next question traders come in. Well, what if it does this? Let me use the yellow one. What if it does this? And it comes here and I close the trade and then it does that. I think I just answered that one, but I'll just tell you again. You have an entry order here. So if they do that, you're back in the trade. But what if they do this and you still keep your stop here? You didn't want to close the trade there, which is most likely what they do, right? They do this, and then not only did you not get that sell, you actually got stopped out here because you're living with your stop. See? So what if they go up? Well, you can get it. What if you don't have an entry order? Wait for it to go up, make a flag, confirm the upside, and buy. There are going to be many flags. I showed you that before in the previous 4-hour move that they made. There were many flags that we bought in this move up on the 1 hour. I think all of you remember. Even in this one, there were a number of 1-hour flags. And in this one, there was a number of 1-hour flags. Right, I showed you those, and we actually did them step by step. I had the lines there for you to see, right? So it's the same thing. If we get a big consolidation here, it's like this piece. We're making a big consolidation inside of the correction. We traded it. We traded this one. It's the same thing. I don't know if they're going to make a big consolidation inside here. If they make a big consolidation inside here, like probably come back here and do this, great. Well, that would, okay, we'll take that trade. We'll confirm that this is going up, and we don't know right now. We don't have a consolidation. This was the first consolidation. And I told you could have bought this to the top there, but then you should close the trade because it's not going anywhere. So what we'll do is see if they do this here. That would be great for us. But if they drop here, this would be even amazing because from here we'll buy. From here, we would look for a 1-hour flag and we'll buy to the upside, right? So can we get this sell if they're going to drop? Well, if they're going to drop, yes, we can take the sell. Not necessarily that they will drop, but if they're going to drop, we want the sell. So first we'd look to see whether we get a flag here for a sell. And if the flag only, if you get a flag here, let's say that, they spend the next 6-8 hours here and then you get a flag and it only does that to go back up. Well, the worst case is you're going to get a break-even trade. You have a stop here and then you move the stop there and then you move it to break-even. The same thing I'm telling you to do right now. So we don't know what it's going to do. Let's just wait. Patience. That's the whole thing about trading. Analyzing the chart, figuring out the trade, put your entries, hope it goes. It doesn't go, well, great. You start managing the trade. You don't have to take the loss. Same here. Yesterday, if you bought this, like I said, if you want to buy this, take it off here now. Put another entry because it's consolidating. It's not going anywhere. It will be the same for this one. See, if you took that trade, we put this one. If you took that trade, take it off. It's not going anywhere because you don't know that the next thing this thing does is do this. Right? Then you have a stop here, which you will be stopped out. So you take it off. It's not, when you get into trade like that, you want it to go. It's either going to go or it's not going. We broke the top. Can we come back down now? Sure. They can just tag that up and start dropping. And this could be the end of the entire daily move. that could be the end of the entire daily move going down next time to come back to this level or even back to this level. We don't know that. Can it continue to go up? Most likely. Do we have a setup for a buy? Let's see. So I'm on the futures one here. If you're waiting for a setup for a buy and it's consolidating here, move this entry order now to this level. You didn't lose anything. Again, let's look at this now. This is the same thing. It's very, very similar structure, right? So if you took the trade here, you're out of the trade and you put the next entry there. You didn't lose anything. Dollar index. Okay, we expect it to come down. So I said to you, we expect this to come down somewhere here and go back up, make a running flat. If it is a running flat, you can put an entry there, right? If they go up really fast, that's your trade. It actually came lower, and I think we even broke this low. That doesn't mean it's not a flat, right? That means we can look at an expanding flat, but this is not where you'll put an entry order now. That doesn't make sense, right? That's too far. But if you get a flag here for a buy, if you get a flag here for a buy to the upside, it's worth buying. See, they're actually making some consolidation here. If that proves to be a flag, you can buy this. You can take a risk. Your stop is going to be here because you're expecting this to be the end of that move and this to go up. Now we would look at it as a possible expanding flat if they do that. But what if they're going down? What if this is going down? And sometimes we have seen where, you know, they kind of get a sharp move here, or we look for some kind of a contracting flat somewhere here, or so, which is, in this case, I don't even see it, but let's just assume. I'm more convinced of the upside. But let's just assume it's going to continue. The first thing, you will not be tagged in the trade if it just falls. If it goes and tag you like this and, you know, tag you like this, start to pull back, well, your stop is here, and this is where you try to exit, right? That is where you will try to exit the trade. You'll try to say, okay, great, this is what I'm risking, right? That is 1% of my account. But if this thing just go here, or 0.5% of my account, if this thing just goes here and start to pull back, I need to close the trade. I need to put it to break even. So let's look at it. I don't think this is enough of a pullback, but if you want to put an entry order here, not a bad idea. What I would like to see is this come here and actually come back down. Don't tag you, come back down. Your stop is here. I wanted to come back down and then go. Now you got a good flat to go with, right? That is the one I would say, like something like this, but this is a bigger one. Something like this is a bigger one. I'm not expecting such a big one. I just wanted to come back a little here, retest this low, and then that's the trade to the upside. That would be a perfect setup for a buy, right? Now let's wait and see. What if they take off from this point? You got it. What if they drop lower? Well, you're not interested in the sellers here. The only time we'd be interested in a sell from this point is if this actually comes back here, go back there, and then if this comes deep, by the way, you take this off, because then we'll be looking for a possible flat for downside, right? If it's going to make a flag for upside, we don't want it to come back deep. If they come back deep, we look for another entry, which means you can still enter it if you want to enter on the upside. Let's say this comes back really deep like this, then you will probably look for an entry from this point. So by the time it gets to this level, you put it to break even. And if it goes, it goes. But if they stop here and turn, you will get a break-even trade, and you will even look for a sell setup here. See, we don't know that this is finished. Our assumption is that it's finished. Yesterday, we were expecting it to go down some more. Like I said, if you put an entry order here and you took that trade, once it gets here, you should take the profit off. The same thing would be for the euro, right? We expected that to go up. Yesterday it was here, so you would have had to put an entry order there. If you close it and you put an entry order here, you close the entry order, so at least you get one piece. This would be break even, you could get that. But if you kept it, this didn't stay here long. So if you kept it, you're closing that trade now. You're not keeping the trade. Why? Because we anticipate that this could be a possible running or expanding flat for one more down. So you're actually looking at a possible sell setup here. See, we don't know that this is going to go up now. I don't think that we're looking at this sharp one and we anticipate that it could go up. So what you would look for at this point, if you're going to go up, I want this to break down here and then go back up. Now I would look for a buy setup. But can I go for risk this sell if I think this could be a running flat? Should I risk a sell here? I'll probably take the chance, right? You could take the chance on that. You probably want to get the best entry. So if they consolidate here a little more, the best entry would be somewhere here. So by the time they break the low, you can put it to break even. You can wait for the breakout trade. See? So I still think we're going to go down more. We will see if they consolidate here a lot. You will have enough time for break even if they consolidate a lot if you're in the sell. And then we look for the buy setup. Same with the pound. right? The pound was going up. We're looking for one sharp one like this. And it was here yesterday. And I said, you don't want to probably buy that. I remember you don't want to buy this because it's not going to go very far if it's going to do this. But if you did buy it, you got break even. Take the break even. That's okay. It didn't go anywhere for like 10 hours. I think more than 10 hours. Because if you got an entry here, look how many hours it's not going anywhere. So there's a likelihood if we don't go anywhere, we're going to go down. We expect that this could go down one more. We would look at this as a possible running flat. Right? That was the assumption we had since yesterday. And it's working, right? The upside happened. Why wouldn't the downside happen? There's a high probability the downside could happen. So if the downside is going to happen, you want this to come down. It's already coming down. You want the flag here, and then we'll sell. This entry order is no longer valid. That entry order was if it's going to really fall very fast. So can we anticipate that this might become a running flat and you might get a trade here? We don't have any setup. We'll have to let it come down. We'll have to let it make a flag, and then we get a setup. Can this continue to go up? Well, put your entry order here. Just like if you put your entry order there yesterday and you got break even. You might get break even again, but no big deal. If you think it's going to go up, go for it. Aussie. Nothing new, right? We anticipate this to come back here. Close to that top, maybe even breaking it, and then we expect this to come back here. So I think today we should look for sell setups. We can start looking for sell setups. If they go up a little more, I want a bigger consolidation before I buy now. New Zealand, same thing. Actually, New Zealand is already coming down really fast. So if you get a flag here for a sell, this would make a good trade to come back and break the low, and then we'll see this start to go back up again, whether this is a big correction for upside. That's what we're saying, right? So you might even get a sell setup here today. Can this go up from here some more? Well, put an entry order at the top here if you think it's going to take off like a rocket. I don't see that possible, but if you think it's going to do that, put an entry order. Let's see what happens, right? This is coming down really nice. So if you get a flag here, that would be a good trade. Yen. Yen was the only one. We were looking for this to probably go up more, and it dropped. So this most likely is a flat of its own. We'll go with that as a flat. So the question is, we still don't have anything for this piece, unless we consider that all the correction and this is the low. If this is the low now, the next question we have is it ready for the upside? Right? We broke the low, right? We wanted it to come and break this low. No, we haven't broken. Well, we came close because remember the impulse is this impulse. This is the impulse we're looking at, right? And we're making an assumption that this is a 1, 2, 3 for an expanding flat. So this impulse pretty much looks like this impulse. If they want to go up from here, this is the upside. See? If it wants to go up, this is exactly from where it can start to go. Can this go down some more within this impulse? Can this drop some more here before it goes? Absolutely. So let's see. Do we have a sell setup? I didn't see a sell setup yesterday. I wouldn't have sold that. That drop. We're expecting this to start taking off back to this level and then come down, right? We were anticipating that this might come here and then come down. You didn't get the trade. No big deal, right? We got that wrong. We thought we were making 1, 2, 3 could then come down. And they said, nope, we're going to go with this is all the correction. However you look at it, this is all the correction. This is an impulse down. That's a correction. Or we're going to make another one like this, and then we're going to drop, and this is going to be a running flat. I am more inclined to go with the running flat because of this, not breaking the low. So by rule, when I even if this is a correction or an impulse, doesn't matter. When I have a move up, and the move, if you think that is all the correction, this has to drop. If it's not dropping but it's going like this, then I expect it to go back, retag the top, and then come down. Right? Complete. But when it doesn't go retag the top, instead of going and retag the top, they make a very big flat in the middle inside of this piece and then drop. I think all of you know what I look for. I look for this to come back here and then drop. And then we can go up. Because now this would be a running flat. And I can show you 1,000 of those, right? You should go look at it yourself. We're not doing that right now. But I'm just giving you fast heads up of how you look at it. So if we get a correction here today, I'd look for that trade. Well, not so far, right? Not so far, but somewhere here. I'll put it to positive and then move your stop, because if they go, they go. If this is the end of the structure, great for the upside. But if they come back down, you'll be out of the trade. You might even get a sell and then you look for a buy. See, that's wave analysis. It doesn't go in a straight line. CAD. Well, nothing new here. They actually broke the low and they're going up, so that's great, right? They even come down a little more. So now if we get we could look at this two ways. We could look at this as a possible flat here for one more down and then go. That is possible. Or if they consolidate here to take off, this could be a buy. Because this could be the end of the structure. There might be a small, very small correction in there. So which one? Is it going to make a new low then go? Or is this is going to be a flag correction for the upside? We'll decide that as we go along, right? We'll see that. I don't think we have a complete buy setup here because this move down is a little sharp. This move down, I want this to come back here, something like that. And if they do that, then put an entry order here. So if they do this, you're in the trade. But if they do this, you wouldn't be in the trade. So no big deal. Because you're not looking for the sell here, you're looking mostly for the buy. That's the breakout of the bigger pattern, right? Swiss is the perfect example. Yesterday we did it, right? And I said I'm going to keep it, and I put exactly where I think it should go and all of that, right? So remember, they came, they tagged the low, they're going to go up. I said, let this make an impulse, make a flag, we'll buy. It didn't, and it dropped a little lower. No big deal. Can it drop to 618? Yeah, it can. We spoke about that. That's why we put this, and that's why we tell you where we think the target is going to go. We did that when we were breaking here, if you remember, right, when we were in this piece. And they did come to the 270. They went a little lower, but look what's happening here now. They're making a correction. Is that a correction? Well, I don't know if that's a correction or if that is a slow move to the downside. What if this one wants to crawl its way down like this, make a new low? I'm not interested in this sell. But if they break out of this, I'm interested in that trade. I'm definitely interested in that trade because all of our forecast so far was telling us this needs to come down from here to break this low and then go back up. Well, they did that for us, right? Remember when this happened and they started to do this and I said, okay, this needs to come and break the low. And then instead they went up. Look back at those webinars. They're important because that's how you learn, right? It went up. And I said, okay, well, let them come break this top and then drop. They did that. They make a flag, go broke that top, and now they're dropping. They came, they break the low. What is our next move? If they did everything we want in here and everything we want here, this is the one. Now, if that happens, should you be in the trade? What if that doesn't happen and they just crawl their way down to the bottom here? Not my problem. I'm not in the trade. I'm not interested in the sell, right? So if this is going to crawl its way down, crawl its way down, crawl its way down, I'm not going to be in the sell. I could only be in a sell if I get a nice flag here that says, you know what, one more impulse, at least one more impulse. Then I might even consider it because risk to reward is not a good trade. But if this starts to go up, risk to reward, it's an amazing trade. So would I risk my money in that? Absolutely. Would I make money in it? I don't know. Can I lose that trade? Maybe. Maybe they'll just go tag me like this if I have an entry order here. They'll just go tag me like that and do this and I'll lose the trade because I'll have a stop here. Right? My stop is going to be just under this. So maybe I'll lose that trade. I don't know. But with the possibility, what you do is with the analysis that is working great so far and with the risk to reward in this trade, absolutely I want the trade. I don't care if I'd lose that one trade, but I want it because if it goes without you and it goes where you want it to go, then you will regret that. I would not regret if I lose it, but tags me, come back, I'll say, damn, that's another flat. I would try to get out for less than what I risk. Like I showed you on silver, right? If they come and tag me, if I put an entry order here, I probably try to get a breakout. But if I put an entry order here and they come and tag, we can put the entry order just to manage it. We've been following this very clear, so let's do that. We'll put an entry order here. I wouldn't like to go in the entry to see how many pips there is there. I would like to go in the breakout trade, but let's assume I get in on the entry order. And they do something like this. See this one, they come down somewhere. If this comes back way down to the bottom here, that entry order comes off. Because then we're looking for a flat. But if this breaks within the next couple hours, do that and start to pull back, I'll put the break even. What if they just tag me slowly like this? If they go very slow, put it to break even or take it off and wait for another flag. Because if they go slow, they're likely going to fall. Right? We know those rules. We understand structure. We know how they work. So I'm giving you a very, very clear step-to-step of what you should do here. Mostly this is for the traders who are actually in the subscription list because they don't have the knowledge you guys have. I think most of you in my group can already do this without me explaining it so detailed, right? But let's do it. Let's look for that trade up. Aussie Swiss. Stay away from it. I think we might even get a bigger consolidation. It's not, I'm expecting this to go up at least some more to break that top, but eventually we might even get some kind of a contracting flat and they fall. right? It looks like this is still a consolidation for one more impulse now. So let's leave it until that consolidation finished. Whatever it is doing, let it do what it has to do. There's no good trade in it. And then we look for when we break this top. When they break this top, we look for the sell down, right? New Zealand Swiss, pretty much the same thing. If you took this trade, by the way, we thought this one was going to go up, right? So if you took this trade, you should get out of it. Your stop should be here. If you took that trade, we think it's going to break this stop. It's going to come to about the 270 and then maybe go down. Like I said, it's a risk. We know we're going up to come down. We spoke about that. Let me just show you the bigger trade. Right? They're going to come up here and then come down back, right? That's the whole point because this is your impulse. So if you took the trade, I don't like this trade because of risk to reward. They're not very good. But if you took the trade, and let's say you got tagged here, and 1, 2, 3 hours is not going anywhere. 4 hours is not going anywhere. Let's say you didn't take it out, it does this, and it comes back here. You can see that this is not the trade you were looking for, right? The trade you were looking for was for this to go. So what do? You close the trade. You have, right in here, you should close that trade somewhere in there. Just take the chance, close the trade. You don't have to live with your stop here. See, this is the perfect example of what I'm trying to explain in 3 setups this morning. You don't have to live with that stop there. Well, is this a contracting flat and we're going down? Let me just take off this entry or this flip so we get some more. That could be a contracting flat and we're going down. We could look at it like this. And this is going down now from here. I don't know that. Or this could be a bigger correction and we make another one and then we come down. I'm not interested in the buy anymore because, but is it the sell? If it is a sell and we're interested, what you need to get for the sell, I'll pull this like this. This line is irrelevant. I only want to see when they're breaking out of the entire structure. So what I would look for now is let this make a big flag here for me. And then I'd look for the sell. Unless, especially with a contracting flat, possibility of a contracting flat, I have to have a very, very good correction there, flat correction before I go. I would not take a small one because we haven't broken the top, so we don't have the full confirmation of what it's going to do. You want that confirmation before you decide that you're going to sell something that is a contracting flat. Swiss yen. Okay, I think we can go for another running flat here. This is a possibility. We spoke of this possibility that they can do this. If you actually get this trade, might not be a bad idea. See that? Because this could drop one more. If this doesn't go up, but it comes back and break this level here, you can get one more to retest that level. Short trade, possible, take it and then see what you do with it, right? What happens after that? I'll leave it like that. I don't know if that's a running flat. We'll assume it's a running flat for now. Cat Swiss. This came down and again. I don't think you got, you first thing you got out of this one here and then it went back and it come back. So this one is more like this. 1, 2, 3, that would be this. This one is coming down as a, I think we'd look at this whole piece more like from this point. This is the first piece down, right? That is the first piece down there. So there's just a big flat in the middle here before this starts to go down. It's kind of weird. It's a very, very, you have to go into it and look into every piece to find out what the pattern is. For now, just leave it like this. Let this come down. And then we will wait for it to go back up and then we'll look for the sell. So we'll see if we get any buy in there and then we'll look for the sell. I don't think this is falling. So even if it's falling, let it go with it. That's not a good trade. Right? I don't think this is all the correction. So this is not a good sell there. Aussie CAD, it did go up. So if you bought, what you should do, remember we showed this and I said this could take off like a rocket. So you should put this trade in. And if you put this trade in and it comes here and it stopped for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you put this to break even. Or you take off the trade here and you put an entry order above the top, which means you should be out of that trade also because 3 hours it didn't go anywhere. Right? So what I would do when I put it to that, wait for a flag again. But now you can see that if you're in this trade, minimum you have to get it to break even. If you want to keep it for the breakout, keep it at break even because there's still a chance that they could come back one more down. Right? It could always come back lower. Right? We don't know that this doesn't make if possible even make a flat here and then go. Right? So how long this thing could consolidate? I think you all know how long it could and how complex the pattern could become. So all you do is put it to break even. If you're in that trade, I would put that to break even and keep it, because there's still a probability of them breaking out today. Give up this little piece, because if it takes off really fast, you will miss the trade. If it comes back, take you out for break even. What's the big deal? You'll wait to buy back at the bottom. Okay. Aussie yen. Okay, this one is also going up, but just leave it alone. It needs to go a little more. We wanted to break this top, and then we'll look for that trade. Okay. So there's nothing to do there. If this is going to be another contracting flat, let's assume this is going to be some kind of a weird contracting flat. This has to drop, make a flag here, and then we'll look for sell. So right now, we're not doing anything with this. Aussie, New Zealand, you could have gone for the trade, right? And I said, actually, you should have traded this one. Right, that is the one we were thinking about yesterday. If you put that trade in, you got a good trade, put it to break even. Let's see how far this could go. You probably want to put it, we expected to break this top again, assuming that this here could be the bigger consolidation, but they're actually making consolidation here. So there's a good chance that, put it to break even, because there's a good chance they might come back and make a new low. I am not sure about that. We don't know that. So worst case is you're going to get a break even trade. But I think in the bigger picture, we were expecting them to go a little more. See, we were expecting them to go at least about this level, somewhere here, put it like that. Let me just put this more somewhere like there. Go there before they come back. I don't think we're turning as yet, but who knows? If they're going to be breaking out of this downwards, we may consider the sell, because the sell is going to go beyond this point. So if you're in the buy, good work. You want to take it off and wait. I don't think there's enough reason to take it off and wait. Just put it to break even if you're in the trade. You'll have to have it on an entry order. No other way. EuroCAD, it's going up. You should have taken it from here. You should have taken it out, put it here. And if you take it out, you put it here. And if you take that out, you put it here. Right? So if you kept it for this to go, well, then you put it to break even. If you kept the first one to break even, you're good. If not, we wait for another flag and then we die. I still don't like this. We assume that you can take the trade from this point here, because it might go out, and we'll see. I don't think that's the big move to the upside. It could be, we might eventually come with this. Some one of these is the low. We'll have to check which one is the low. I would assume that one of these here has to be the low. This one or this one. Most likely this one is the low, because this could be a flat here of its own. Right, and then you get a 1, 2, 3. This is the low, and this one is, well, we've got a sharp one here, so we might even put this together here if this takes off. We'll wait to see how this develops. It's not going anywhere so fast, so there's no need. If you miss it, you didn't miss anything. If you want to still get in the trade, wait for a good flag, a good correction downwards, something like this, something just like you had here, right? Like this piece, and if we get something like that here again today, we can go for the trade tomorrow. Euro Swiss. Nothing here. Don't do anything with this. Let's see. We don't know what it's doing here right now. I saw that breakup, but it's not a great one, so just leave it alone. Euros, we'll have to leave this alone too, because it's not going anywhere. Kind of going sideways, but that's not giving us any clue. So stay away from it. Wait until all of this is finished. When they're doing this like this, and they're squeezing here, the potential is they can do that, or they can do this. Right, both sides. And if they do this, this could be more of a bigger correction, and they still drop, so there's not a good buy setup here. Can they just break the low and then go back up? There's not a good sell setup here. So when you're in that and it's not clear, you don't want to go and check what pattern you have in all of these here. You can do that, but it's a waste of time. Just wait for it to finish what it's doing, and then we'll get in the trade. Like this. This one is much clearer, right? So it had to come, break the low, and then you're looking for the buy. This is what it did. We put that low there so that they can come, break this low. And I think yesterday we were already looking for a buy setup. Your buy setup probably would have been, this one didn't come back and break the low. You'll have to either have an entry order here or an entry order here. Any one out of those two, you have to put them to break even right now. This is either going to go or it's going to come back down. Can that come back down? Sure. It's just going to be a much more complex pattern than we anticipated. But if it takes off, you want the trade. If they don't take off right now, but consolidate here a long time, then you can take this trade off somewhere in here and then put a new entry order here for this one. Well, you will need about 4 or 5 more hours to make that decision. Right? It has already gone into positive, so you can just put it to break even and keep it. Euro yen. Stay away from it. Looks downside. This still looks like it could drop. We don't have a good buy setup, so probably just stay away from it. Yeah, Europong might give us the like I said, I'm not quite interested in this one. If you take that trade, you got break even. There are many hours there to get break even. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to close that trade for break even. You should. And now what we will want is I want this. We want that move down first. Remember I said I want this to come here and then go. We can look at this here as a bigger flat, this piece, 1, 2, 3. Come back here and then we can look for buy. So if we get a sell setup here today, I think it's worth it. You can look at this. We don't have a sell setup as yet. Could this be some kind of a flat of its own here? This piece, let's assume this is a running flat for upside, one more up. Again, do you want the upside? If you want the upside, put an entry order here. But I don't like the upside until I see that this thing is making a pattern that I know, which means I want to see them come back down. I want to see this come back down before I get into that trade. So two things right now we can look for. Either they consolidate here and they fall, or this is some kind of a bigger flat and we make a new high, but then we're going to still come back down. So for the new high, I'm not interested. We'll see which one it is. I'll take this off not to give you any bias, because if we get a flag here, we can look for the sell. Pangyan, nothing here as yet. We're consolidating. Let them consolidate more, then we'll look for buy setups. So we don't have any sell setups. Pound Swiss, it doesn't look like they're going to break the low. And it doesn't look like they're going up either. We don't have any buy setups. As a matter of fact, it looks more like a sell. Okay. But the question is whether you want to sell it at the bottom here. If we're correct about this pattern being a running flat or expanding flat, do you want that sell? Sell something else. This is not the best sell risk to reward trade. Right? If you have to choose, it's not a bad trade, but it's not a good risk to reward trade. So I'll just skip it. And the risk of this coming, tagging the low and going back up is very high. Look for something that doesn't have that risk. Pound New Zealand. Okay, looks like we might be going up for a deeper correction from this point. Looks like from this point, we're going to go up either for a deeper correction before we go down, or we're retesting the top. Let's see which one we're going for. 1 hour. They actually had a flag and a breakout here. You'd have to add an entry order on that one if you wanted. If they make another flag here, we can put an entry order. Nothing else. There's no sell setup there. So if they make another flag, then we put an entry order and you take, see how far it goes to decide whether you take out the profit or whether you put it to break even. Pangos dropped nicely. So if you took the sell, if you had that entry order, I'm absolutely sure the worst case you had was break even, right? Because once it dropped this much, breaking this low, you would put that to break even. Especially if you see that this thing pulls back, 1, 2, big candle like that. Your thought process will be, oh my God, I give up the profit, so the worst case is break even, right? And that's okay. As part of trading, this is more of a surprise. I thought they would really drop because we broke the structure, we broke the daily structure, and we are out of that daily structure, if you can say. We're breaking out of the daily structure. So I thought they might start to drop, but it looks like we still haven't gotten the bigger correction that we're looking for. This is a small one. Remember I said I want more of a bigger correction. That is not big enough. So it looks like with divergence in play here, we might eventually still get the big correction. So we'll take this out, break even trade. Take that out. If you didn't get break even then and you're still in the trade, take the break even now, right? So I'll take this out because it really looks like this is trying to go up. So we'll watch two ways here. Is this a possible running flat? Like 1, 1, 2, 3, and this goes back up a little more and then come, or even at this level, go down back. I don't think we have a sell setup, and I would not be rushing to buy this yet because the buy setup is not clear, but this is a flag for a buy. So we'll have to wait on this one. Take it off and wait. I'm not going to put any of the two patterns because I don't know which one. Let them confirm one. If they're going to go down, let it drop some more, make a flag, and then we sell. On CAD, this didn't go anywhere. If you had an entry order here, you would have put the entry order because there's nowhere else to put an entry order. This is just very, very small moves going, right? You'd have an entry order here that didn't work out. I don't see any reason to put an entry order here, right? There's absolutely, after the consolidation, you could have put an entry order if you thought they're making a flag. So that went up a little more here. Let's see. Could it be the start of the upside? Let's say the 4-hour. We want the upside, right? Remember that? We want this upside. Come on, put this back here. And they didn't break the low, which is good. So the question is this the start of the upside to go? We're still in the down move, so let's see in the 1 hour if we can get an early entry, if that is the case. So if this is still upside, what I would want to see is I'd want to see this. Eventually, we might look for a running flat, something like that here. I want to see this consolidate, which is what it's doing, and then you put an entry order here. Your stop must be calculated at this level. You don't have to live with that stop, but that's a calculation of where your risk is going to be if they tag you and decide to do that. So the lot size will be smaller. You're not going to risk more money in the trade. You're just going to have a smaller lot size. But if they go the way we expect to go, the risk to reward is still amazing. So if you put it on the 4-hour, let me just show you that. We're expecting a move like this, minimum a move like this. That's the minimum, right? A move like this. So if you're putting an entry order here with the stop here, I think the risk to reward is okay. All you'll have to do is get it to break even and leave it, right? Bring it back to the 1 hour. You don't even have to live with that stuff. If it tags you and look like it's coming back down, worst case is you're going to get a break even like the pongos. You'll put it to break even if they get a spike up. And this thing looks like it could make a spike, so we could put an entry order above the top here. I don't want to go too close if I don't see. Yeah, it looks like it could go now, so you could put it like that. Right? And let's see if they take off. If they come lower, then you'll have to take that off, and then we'll look for a breakout if it's still going up. This didn't go anywhere, so we just wanted that to go break the top and then come down. But instead, they came down first. So just stay out of it. I still think there's a chance they can go break that up. We don't have any sell setup. New Zealand CAD. Okay, let's see what this is doing. It's not breaking out. This was an old trade. This was an old trade here. That is a break-even trade. Or you know, if you put it to break-even, you got break-even. This didn't go anywhere. And it looks like they're coming down back. I think we could be over. I think this thing could be trying to break the top and come back lower or make a bigger flat. We did break the top of the flat, so it could come down now. Let's see in the bigger picture if there's any chance for downside. Yeah, very possible. You see this one here also. They kind of like just break the top. They broke the top and then downside, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we repeat that here by just breaking the top and then coming back to make a new low. Let's go to the 1 hour and see what it looks like. We don't have any trade set up as yet. Right? I don't think you would be so aggressive to sell this one. So what we do is allow it to fall some more, make a flag, a deeper correction, and then we'd look for a sell. Leave the smaller ones. It's not at a level where we can take the smaller trades right now. We don't have a buy anymore. Even if that is going to go up, you'll have to wait for it. You can't put an entry order here with a stop here. That doesn't make sense. Canadian. All the yen pairs, we wanted them to come and break the top first and then go down, but they're not breaking the top. They all drop, and that is because yen dropped yesterday. So now we're stuck in this sideways consolidation. The question you would have now, is this some kind of a contracting flat? Is this thing here making a contracting flat for downside? I don't think so. Can we assume that this is 1, 2, 3, come back here and then go back up there and then come down? That is possible. If you look at it this way, all right, let's put this here and assume we're still in the B wave and this is going to come back here. And we look at this as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we go back there and then come. Yeah, that is possible. So stay away from it for now. There's no trade set up, not for the buy, not for the sell. US oil. If you took the buy, you took profit. It didn't go very much. It didn't go anywhere. I think was this one here, right? Or this one here, because we were assuming that this somewhere we're assuming. Oh no, this one. Sorry, it didn't get anything anywhere. So it's a break even most likely. This looks like it's trying to come back down. This piece, see. We can't confirm that, but if they consolidate here more, if this consolidates here more, yeah, you could make an attempt for a sell. Because I could see them coming back to about this level, right? As a running flat. We could probably see this as a possible running flat and then go. So if you get that trade, you could take a risk in it. Remember, these trades are same day trades, especially on the oil. The oil is the same day trade. You don't want to risk keeping that. If you get a trade and you take it up, same thing here. If they break down, I think that would be worth it. It will be worth going for triangle for the sell. If this breaks down, you want to see a flag here, which is what they're doing right now. Natural gas, some more downside. I still think this is going to come down some more. If you got break even in the sell, probably ignore it for now. Let it break the low, and then we'll start to trade it to the upside. S&P 500. Well, you got a break even trade. If you had an entry order here, you got a break even trade. You had many hours to take that off, and you should, because it's not going. You can put an entry order here now. Take it off and you put the entry order there, right? Let's see what happens here now. Is it coming down one more? Could be. You could still be in the correction, right? You could still look at this as a more complex pattern. Let's say 1, 2, 3 for an expanding flat. Let's say 1, 2, 3 for another expanding flat. And let's say 1, 2, 3 for another flat, and then go back up. Possible. That's very possible. We'll have to wait and see. Or this is a contracting flat. I don't see it as a contracting flat. This is a contracting flat here. And this is coming down and then go back up. So the upside is not very much. I think it could be a running flat if they take off. If they give you the bigger picture running flat, if they do this and then come back, then we can look for this as a running flat. That is the only reason you might want to put an entry order there. The first one, break even. The second one, break even, we'll see. Not a bad idea if you get a second one, break even too. So let's wait and see. DAX. This one turned out well if you took the trade. If you took this one, at least you could have closed it somewhere here. Right. It's consolidating, so we'll have to wait and see whether is that the downside. That could be the downside, by the way. Is this trying to come down now? Not quite the sell setup. It's more of a flag for a buy for one more up. If they make a flag, you could go for one more. But again, remember, we're in this impulse. So how far would this go before they come back here and then go? So if you're taking the buys, you know it's limited. It could still go, right? We can make running flats. So if you get a perfect flag for a buy, you could take the buy. Short term. This might go up, like we said. There's a high probability that this might go back here, but we don't have a buy setup as yet. Can it drop some more before it goes? Yeah, there's a small sell setup here, very small. That is if this drops. It's probably going to do this and then do this and then do this, but then up there, and then we'll probably get this. Something like that. That's a possibility. GE. I think it's making a flag here, but again, we really appreciate if it drops, it might just do this and go back up, because we have a sharp move here and we're getting a slow move here. So a sharp move here would make a perfect flat. And then if you get a perfect flat, then that makes a good trade. Right now, it doesn't make a very good trade. This one like this one actually went back, right? So we're saying that, you got a sharp move, you came, come down there. Now, if you get a sell setup, that'd be perfect. If you bought this to the top, good. You should move your stops or take the trade off, and then we look for a sell. If we get a seller, this would be good. Right? Can this go back all the way to the top? It could, but I don't see a buy setup on it. So let's assume that this is all the correction, and this is trying to go up. Wait for a flag here, wait for a correction here, and then we get the trade. I mean a bigger one, not a small one, something like this. I'd wait for something that confirms the next big impulse to the upside. Okay, if you're in this one, you can still wait. They're probably making a bigger correction here. And then we'll probably get one more drop. So if they make a bigger correction, this is very good for you. That would confirm that there's another impulse now. Nifty, you got tagged, put it to break even. We don't know how high it's going to go. Put it to break even and leave it. How high that can go? Let's look at the 4 hour if we think there's, yeah, it could retest the top. It could literally retest the top. So put it to break even and leave it. This one is a surprise. It keeps going. So the only reason I would look for a trade here now is if it makes a consolidation like this. Then I'll look for a buy. Otherwise, to that, you might start to look for it. They're going to drop to retest the low. Flags could be good sell. 1 hour flags. Lines. Okay, what this is doing, let's see. It looks more like a correction. We don't have any setup here as yet. Just one move down. So wait. Bitcoin. You're getting another correction here. Question is which direction it's going to go. Let's see in the 4 hour. Okay. We can still go up more. There's still more upside in this pattern, even if you're looking at it like this. I don't think this is the end of the move anymore. We were thinking about that possibility 1, 2, 3, but this is not going so aggressive. What you can do here is put an entry order for a buy. If we're right about this, then this one would give you another spike like that today, to this top. And then we would decide, is it going to continue to go or is it going to come back here and then go? That is if it happens. But if they drop from this level to make a new low, then we can consider whether this one is going, is going to be the final drop before they go. Do we have a sell setup? No. You don't want to sell in this. These are not extreme levels. Right? We're not an extreme level to look for a sell. I think we wait for this to consolidate, see how it consolidates, and then decide whether it's an entry order or it's a breakout like this one, see? Or a breakout like that. So let's wait and see. I think you can put the entry order just in case they take off like a rocket and you're not there. Rarely it's going to happen. Well, it does happen sometime, but you can do that. On the ETH, okay, this is breaking out, and that's kind of strange. Do we go with this as the all the correction? This could be all the correction. So if this breaks out, you could only get in with an entry order. If not, wait for a flag and then take the trade. Right? If you had an entry order for the breakout, you're good. If not, you have to wait for a flag. That could be it because this is still going up, right? This one had already broken the low to complete the flat pattern. So this was a buy here. I think we remember that. If you close it here, you should have another entry order. If you don't have the entry order, wait for a flag. Soppy? I still think this should come down. This is not going up, right? It still looks very much like we don't have a sell, but I still think this should break below before they go. Let's see. If we're going to buy it, let it make a very sharp impulse up, and then we'll start to look for buy setups. LTC. And this one also we want to come and break below here. We wanted to come and break this low before it did go. I don't like how it's looking right now. It's not looking very aggressive for the downside as well as it's not looking very aggressive for the upside. So just wait, stay away from it, then let's wait. I think that's about it. If you have, when you get a clear setup, we'll take the trade. So thank all of you for being here. Nifty retraced to the 618. Yeah, but it could go to the 786. Put it to break even and leave it there. Don't try to sell it there. If it turns and comes down back and give you a flag, great, that would be a good trade. All right, can you please look at Nifty in detail? I think it might be reversing. It could be, like I said, let's look at it again. Nifty, if that is reversing from this point, if we're reversing from that point, we don't know, right? The thing about fibs is that we don't know which one it's going to turn from, right? 618, 786, some people like to say 886, some people like to say 9 something. It's a relative guess. I'll put it that way. I've done a lot of fibs. We have a whole webinar on fibs that I explain, right? There's nothing magical about them. It's just a percentage of where it's going to turn. Remember, we don't really care which fib it's turned from. My thing is, if this thing is turning now, do you have a setup to sell? So can it turn from this point? Sure, let's go to the 1 hour. I would say put it to break even and leave it, because the only reason you would do that is you might watch this thing do this. And then do this, right? Have we seen this before? If the answer to that is yes, I've seen that before, then put it to break even and leave it. If it is going to turn, don't try to pick the top. I've explained many times, none of us know where the top is, right? So we're not picking tops. Let it drop, let it make a flag, and we will have at least one more impulse. What would that give us? The advantage of putting it to break even if we're wrong. And this is gonna go up back. When you took this trade here and you put it to break even, the advantage was you're gonna get break even if you're wrong and this goes back up. See? So you get a drop. If you didn't get the first one, you get the second one, you get a drop, you put a trade here, it drops here, it goes back up, you got break even. Well, you're okay. I'm okay with that. Break even is good because what happens? It went back up. You took the buy here. When we took the buy, remember the first buy we took was this one. I said, take it off if you want, especially when it comes here because it started to consolidate. Put an entry order, you got this, put it to break even. Let's see if this dropped today, make a thing and then go. It's never tried to, it's only a thing about ego when you try to say, people try to say, hey, I got it exactly from the top or I got it exactly from the bottom. Congratulations, you made a good guess. Because even if you're looking at patterns, you don't know that that's the top in a correction. And why you wouldn't know? Because corrections make expanding and running flat, which means they can break the top of the impulses. So you don't know where the top is. Right? If we go with that logic that we have two patterns that are expanding, which means they break the top of the impulse. And you said, I'm picking the top of the correction at the 618 or the 786 or the 886. My question to you is, how do you know it's not going to be a running flat? Or it's not going to be an expanding flat? Either breaks the top. See? So what you can say to me is it hits the 618, it made an impulse down, made a flag, and I'm bingo, I'm in it. And I'm like, good, congratulations. That's a good strategy. The analysis was great, the strategy is good. But simply selling at a fib because it came to a level that, I mean, seriously, we're in this business a long time. So you guys know that now, right? If you didn't know that before, you know it now. Don't do that. And that's a good thing about being in here, right? So that we can remind ourselves. Sometimes you know it, but you tend to forget it and you get very enthusiastic. All of us do that. This is not one person. All of us do that. We get enthusiastic. We think we got the perfect pattern. It's going to drop from this area. And then very often it drops a little, but then you go back up. So if you're very good, you get break even. But sometimes it doesn't drop. It just keeps going. And you're like, what the hell happened there? Okay, well, they're not respecting the 618 fib, they're going to respect the 786 fib. And then they don't respect the 786 fib, they'll respect the 886. We had one magician who thought that the 886 fib was magical, right? We had a magician like that. Turns out the magic didn't work for long. The magic ended up being very sad. I don't know how many of you know the story, I happen to know it. Right? Don't be a magician. Be a businessman in this thing. This thing is about business. It's not about printing money. It's not being a magician. It's not being anything. And I'm not picking and criticizing. I just want you to don't repeat those mistakes. When I repeat these experiences of other people, it's so that you don't make that mistakes. It's not because I'm picking at anyone. We know people who have done a lot of things. And I keep repeating that, guys, as a philosophy, as a way of trading, as a strategy, these are not correct. That's my job, right? To tell you what exists and whether it's good or not, whether it works or it doesn't work. Right? You come here because you expect me to give you that inspiration. Is it going to work? Can we do this? And then we looked at it and said, no, don't do that. Or we looked at it and said, you know what? Great. That's a great idea. Right? You can actually do that. If you have a great strategy, a few strategies we use came from our traders because they said, hey, I'm doing this. And we looked at it and said, you know, yeah, that's a good thing. I do this. I trade options with spots and this way. And we looked at it and said, you know, that's a great idea. We could do that too. You can actually do that. If you have a great strategy you want to share with us, let's look at it first. What we do in the group is we go and we question it and we backtest it and we question it and we backtest it until we figure out that, you know what? The win-loss ratio is good. The risk-to-reward ratio is good. It can make you profit. If all of that cannot work after the backtesting, then we said, no, doesn't seem to be making sense. And that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point of what we do here. We want an edge in the market. We want something that gives us this edge in the market to make money. If you forget everything else, just forget about everything you learn. What's the whole point of being here? Is that you get something that gives you the edge in the market so you can make money. Not the absolute win, but an edge in the market. And an edge is good enough. In this market, if you have an edge, you have something that is good enough to save you from losing your account and help you make money. So one subscriber joined not too long ago. I think this is his 4th month. Actually wrote me this morning. He said he is just subscribing. He's just he's one of the installment pairs and he's paying for the 4th month. And he is already for this 4 month, he's 50% up in his account. Not a big account, small account. He did say it's a small account. I'm trying this. I'm seeing how it's working, but I'm 50% up on it. For 4 months, 50% up. He's probably trading intensive. I don't think he actually, one of the things he's mentioned is the rules you've given me on money management, and because I talk about how much should risk per and all that is helping him. Now, I think he's an experienced trader because he's been following me for more than 2 years. At least he said he's been following me for quite a while. So he's got experience. If you have experience and you have somebody showing you at least what's the edge in the market, that can help you. But having the entire knowledge of what we know as wave analysis is something everybody wants. I think if you're a trader, that's something you want to know. So he will be in the group very soon. He'll join us. And, like I said, congratulations to him. I told him that this morning. Congratulations and good work. Keep it up. So we're here to help people. That's our main focus. You stay focused. You guys are doing a great job, especially in trading room. And so help each other in the room. I will be there. Yesterday I didn't come. Today we have any news event? No, we don't have anything. I was supposed to be in the room taking those video chats yesterday, but I didn't do it because I got caught up in something. But I'll try my best today because I haven't come in the room. I think only one day this week I came in, or I didn't come in at all. So last week I was in every day. I need to come in. I'm going to be in the trading room today. I'll tell you what time. Most likely it's going to be close to the New York session. So I'll see all of you there. Take care. Trade with care, guys. See all of you. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.